Homestead, and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to continue with this little series that I'm doing about Adam-ondi-Ahman, and this time we're going to focus on Adam, because Adam is pretty important when we're talking about Adam-ondi-Ahman. I have an article here called The Man Adam by Robert L. Millet. It's found in the February 1998 Liahona, and there's a lot of interesting details here about Adam that you may not have known. I've already covered this on the channel, but I want to cover it again because I want to review Adam-ondi-Ahman and the details that we do have about it. There's a lot of new people on the channel since those early videos that I did, and I just want to refresh myself on some of these things, so that's why I'm doing a review. But I have already covered this, so let's just get into it. I'm also going to try and make my videos a little shorter. I know that lately they've been pretty long. It's just that there's so much information, and it's like with certain things you have to connect all the different dots, and you have to put it into one presentation. But maybe you don't. Maybe it's just good enough just kind of doing shorter videos, and then as you watch the videos, you'll connect the dots, or I'll just make reference to other videos. I don't know, but I'm going to try and make my videos a little bit shorter. So before the world was, he was known as Michael, a name which means who is like God, right? Because you have El at the end here. We know that El, it's God. Beth El, Samuel. Anytime that there's El, as far as I know, that's always God is in that name. So, a name which means who is like God. Indeed, quote, by his diligence and obedience there, as one of the spirit sons of God, he attained a stature and power second only to that of Christ, the firstborn. He was called and prepared from the foundation of the world according to the foreknowledge of God, Alma 13:3, to perform his labors on earth. Michael stood with Jehovah to defend the Father's plan, the plan of salvation, when Lucifer, quote, son of the morning, opposed it with his amendatory offering. Okay, now down here, this we know, Christ, under the Father, is the Creator. Michael, his companion and associate, presided over much of the creative work, and with them, as Abraham saw, were many of the noble and great ones. The prophet Joseph Smith thus taught that the priesthood was first given, quote, the priesthood was first given to Adam. He obtained the first presidency and held the keys of it from generation to generation. And then in italics, it says, he obtained it in the creation before the world was formed. So that's when he obtained, what's it say? The priesthood, the first presidency, and the keys. Priesthood, presidency, keys, before the world was formed. So that's an interesting concept. That's very interesting. Okay. Let's go down next to the next highlight. President John Taylor asked, quote, how did Adam get his information of the things of God? He then answered, he got it through the gospel of Jesus Christ. God came to him in the garden and talked with him, and he was the first man upon this earth that had the gospel and the holy priesthood. And if he had it not, he could not have known anything about God or his revelations. Father Adam was called of God, President Wilford Woodruff explained, and ordained to the fullness of the Melchizedek priesthood, ordained to the highest office and gift of God to man on the earth. 3 years prior to his death, Adam gathered his righteous posterity together in the valley of Adam-ondi-Ahman. And then let's just review where that's at. Adam-ondi-Ahman. Let's just pull up the map and look at it. Okay, so here it is right here, Adam-ondi-Ahman. I'm going to zoom out. You'll notice that the closest town is Jameson, right here, Jameson, Missouri. You scroll out or you zoom out. If you ever want to easily find it without typing it in, if you're just looking across the map, so you have Adam-ondi-Ahman right here, and then if you go southwest, you have Lake Viking. And then if you go to this highway right here, to the east of Lake Viking, if you just take this CC, uh, where is it? No, okay, maybe it's not CC. Maybe it's this one right here. Okay, sorry. No, correction. Okay, so if you take Lake Viking down to Altamont and take Highway J or whatever this is, and you just follow it down, then you come to Far West. In Far West, this was for a time the headquarters of the church. It's essentially like a abandoned Salt Lake City, right? Um, there was supposed to be a temple there. The cornerstones are still there. So here's Far West right here. Adam-ondi-Ahman is just up here, right? So like that. And then if you go further southwest, then you come to Independence, Missouri, in Jackson County. So Garden of Eden down here. Um, and then you have Far West over here. And then up here, you have Adam-ondi-Ahman. So they essentially went northeast out of the Garden of Eden. And we're going to cover Far West because there's interesting things about Far West, but apparently it's the site where Cain murdered Abel. So it's a very sacred place. Okay, so Garden of Eden, Cain murdered Abel right here, and then up here, Adam-ondi-Ahman, where Adam and Eve made their residence after being cast out. Okay. So, and then if you scroll out, you can see Missouri. So all this is in like the northwestern part of Missouri. And then here's Kansas over here where I live. This is otherwise known as Westward in Eden. Just kidding. I don't know that. But if whatever, I don't know how big Eden actually was. Okay. So 3 years prior to his death, Adam gathered his righteous posterity together in the valley of Adam-ondi-Ahman, the place where he and Eve had settled after their expulsion from Eden. 7 generations, there's the number 7, 7 generations of faithful patriarchs and their families met to receive prophetic counsel. There, Adam bestowed upon them his last blessing. In describing a vision he had of this sacred occasion, the prophet Joseph Smith said, quote, I saw Adam in the valley of Adam-ondi-Ahman. He called together his children and blessed them with a patriarchal blessing. The Lord appeared in their midst, and he, Adam, blessed them all. So the Lord appeared. So, okay, all of his righteous posterity were there. Joseph Smith was having this vision. The Lord, Christ, the premortal, before his mortality, Lord came, and he was there. And Adam blessed all of his posterity. And then, excuse me, he foretold what should befall them to the latest generation. Which that is interesting. That is quite the I mean, you have to wonder how much detail he went into, right? Well, we don't have very much detail here, but uh, I mean, was he talking just about like really big events? Just how detailed did it get? We don't know, but that's interesting. This is why Adam blessed his posterity. He wanted to bring them into the presence of God, right? Because it's all about going back to Eden, metaphorically speaking, back into the presence of God. If you look at the ancient temples, Solomon's temple, the Herodian temple, the tabernacle, that's essentially how Jews viewed it as well, or the early church, the Old Testament church, is that the Holy of Holies represented essentially the Garden of Eden. You had the cherub, you had the angels on the veil of the curtain that guarded, uh, you know, entrance into that area. The way of the tree of life is basically what they were from what I remember. So, and then in modern day temples it's the same, but the difference is that we're able to enter into that presence now, whereas you couldn't do that before Christ came. Only the high priest was able to do it once a year on Yom Kippur, or the Day of Atonement. So it's really pretty neat when you think about it. how the temple relates to this whole thing. So anyway, Adam was the Lord's prophet leader over the earth for his own day. He also stands at Earth's presiding high priest. So he is Earth's the entire planet, the Earth's presiding high priest. Fascinating. The man who, under Christ, holds the keys of authority for the blessing of humankind and the perpetuation of righteousness in the earth. Quote, the keys have to be brought from heaven whenever the gospel is sent. So the keys are in heaven. They have to be brought down from heaven whenever the gospel is sent. So that kind of sounds like, whenever there's a dispensation. When they are revealed from heaven, it is by Adam's authority. Fascinating, isn't it? So you think about, for example, in our own dispensation, when Peter, James, John came, when John the Baptist came, when Moses, Elijah, so on and so forth came to bring keys, it was under Adam's authority. It was under Adam's authority. He's the presiding high priest of the earth. So let's see. It is by Adam's authority under the direction of Jesus Christ. D&C 78:16. The prophet Joseph Smith said that Adam was the first to hold the spiritual blessings, to whom was made known the plan of ordinances for the salvation of his posterity unto the end, and to whom Christ was first revealed, and through whom Christ has been revealed from heaven, and will continue to be revealed from henceforth. Adam holds the keys of the dispensation of the fullness of times, i.e., the dispensation of all the times have been and will be revealed through him from the beginning to Christ, and from Christ to the end of the dispensations that are to be revealed. Okay, after death, just as the war in heaven continues, in a sense, into our own time, even so, Adam's efforts to thwart and oppose Satan have continued since Adam's mortal death. In our own day, Michael, on the banks of Susquehanna River, detected, quote, the devil when he appeared as an angel of light. That's found in D&C 128:20, which I looked, okay, because I was actually preparing this another time. Hey, where's the libraries, scriptures, Doctrine and Covenants? What was it? It was 128:20. Let's go to here. 128. Okay, so let's just look at this really quick. An epistle from Joseph Smith the prophet to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, containing further directions on baptism for the dead, dated at Nauvoo, Illinois, September 6th, 1842. Okay, and we're going to be reading verse 20. It says, Elijah restored power relative to baptism for the dead. All of the keys, powers, and authorities of past dispensations have been restored. So this is an interesting little story, and I know that I've read it before, but I don't think I really realized that this was like its own little occurrence that happened. It was 20, right? Yeah. And again, what do we hear? Glad tidings from Cumorah, Moroni, an angel from heaven, declaring the fulfillment of the prophets, the book to be revealed. A voice of the Lord in the wilderness of Fayette, Seneca County, declaring the three witnesses to bear record of the book. The voice of Michael on the banks of the Susquehanna, detecting the devil when he appeared as an angel of light. So I don't really know what that's referring to. Like when that happened, what the context was. I don't really get it. Let's look at where is that anyway? Susquehanna. Sorry, I should have done like river. Susquehanna River. So what? That's in Pennsylvania. Here it is, the Susquehanna River. Don't know how far it goes. Looks like he goes up into New York. Anyway, I'm not going to do a deep research into that, but somewhere along this river, Michael Adam detected Satan and rebuked him and set the bounds. Interesting. There's perhaps one other occasion on which Michael, as a spirit, may have played a particularly. Well, wait. This says after death. So So after death. So this is after he died. And presumably, I don't know for sure, but he was presumably resurrected at that point. But I don't know. There's perhaps one other occasion on which Michael, as a spirit, may have played a particularly significant role in the plan of our Father. Luke records that on the night of atonement, following the Last Supper, Jesus bowed in awful alienation and grief in the Garden of Gethsemane beneath the load of the world's sins. He uttered his soul cry, "Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done." And there appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him. An angel was sent from the courts of glory to sustain the sinless Son of Man in the depths of his greatest agony. Quote, an angelic ministrant is not the angelic ministrant is not named, Elder Bruce Armour Conkey wrote. If we might indulge in speculation. Oh, what? Speculation? Isn't that of the devil? We can't speculate. That's horrible. If we might indulge in speculation, we would suggest that the angel who came into this second Eden was the same person who dwelt in the first Eden. At least Adam, who is Michael, the archangel, the head of the whole heavenly hierarchy of angelic ministrants, seems the logical one to give an aid and comfort to his Lord on such a solemn occasion. Adam fell, and Christ redeemed men from the fall. Theirs was a joint enterprise, both parts of which were essential for the salvation of the Father's children. So, Bruce Armour Conkey, how dare you speculate? But let's take a look at the map here. It is interesting. I'm sure you've already thought about it, but it's interesting, isn't it, that we have over here, Jackson County, we have the Garden of Eden, and this is where the New Jerusalem will be built, right here. And then on the other side of the world, where Christ performed the atonement, we have the other Jerusalem, and we have the Garden of Gethsemane, and also the tomb garden. Here it is right here, Gethsemane. Let's go to the satellite. So here's going to be, I don't know if it'll be here. There might be one here, the third temple. And like I've speculated, we have the BYU Jerusalem Center. Let me see where that is. Let me zoom out here. Sometimes it's there it is. Okay, right here. This right here, here's the BYU Jerusalem Center, which I think will be turned into a temple. I know that that's not what it was built for. I know no brethren have ever said it, but that doesn't mean that the Lord doesn't have his own purpose for it, that maybe he hasn't even revealed. Maybe the Lord himself has the plans to this building. Nothing can stop him from turning that into a future temple at some future date. But anyway, the garden, right? The Garden of Gethsemane right here. And interestingly, just a little bit north of there, you have the Orson Hyde Memorial Gardens, where Orson Hyde dedicated the land of Israel for the gathering. So, interesting things here for our church. Very interesting things. BYU Jerusalem Center, just northeast of the Orson Hyde Memorial Gardens, and then just southwest of that. It's almost like all in a line, if you look at it. Gethsemane, Orson Hyde, BYU Jerusalem Center, and then potentially, it's not really in line here, but it kind of is, the third temple, if that gets built here. Or if you're someone that believes in the City of David theory, because there's some people that believe that the City of David was the actual location of the temple, which the City of David is basically just this little kind of like neighborhood looking area right here. So that's actually kind of in line. You have City of David. So pretend that the third temple gets built here. City of David, Gethsemane, Orson Hyde, and then BYU Jerusalem Center. It's all in a line. It's like all in a perfect line, not a perfect line, but it's all in a pretty good line. That is a fascinating realization that I just had. But this may not be where they build it, but only the future will tell. Okay, let's go down. Following Adam's resurrection, quote, Adam's base of operation would be from wherever such righteous resurrected beings go to await the time when the earth will become celestialized and become their eternal home. Now that's interesting because we've read quotes before that it's presumed that during the millennium, those who are resurrected and then Christ himself will not necessarily stay on the earth that entire time. That they'll only come when there's purposes to be there, there's something that has to be done, but otherwise they'll be somewhere else. So this is kind of touching on that same topic. And it's interesting. Where is that place? Is it Kolob? Is it the moon? Is it somewhere in the solar system? We don't know, but it's a fascinating idea. Excuse me. Again, we should remember that Adam's priesthood keys go with him from the pre-mortal world through his mortal ministry into the post-earth spirit world and into the resurrection. Okay, the future. The prophet Joseph Smith said, quote, Daniel in his 7th chapter speaks of the Ancient of Days. He means the oldest man, our father Adam, Michael. He will call his children together and hold a council with them to prepare them for the coming of the Son of Man. So here we have one of Adam's other titles. So we have Adam, right? And then we have Michael. And then we also have the title or the name Ancient of Days. So he has those three identifications. Okay. So we're going to have Adam-ondi-Ahman. That's what's being referred to here. Which it's like a corresponding kind of event. Another council. There was the first one when he was actually alive with his posterity. Now there's going to be one in the last days before the second coming. Okay, it says he will call his children together and hold a council with them to prepare them for the coming of the Son of Man. And it's interesting here that it says he will call his children together because we are his children. Just like he had this council with his the first several generations of children. Now he's coming to the very end, and with his great how many, I don't know how many great grandchildren, he's gonna bring them all together and prepare them for the second coming. That's an exciting idea. I better keep reading here. He, Adam, is the father of the human family, and he presides over the spirits of all men, and all that have had the keys must stand before him in this grand council. All that have had keys. The Son of Man stands before him, and there is given him glory, dominion. Adam delivers up his stewardship to Christ, which was delivered to him as holding the keys of the universe. I've never really heard that phrase before. That's why I highlighted it. The keys of the universe. But retains his standing as head of the human family. So that's interesting. The keys of the universe. Elder Joseph Fielding Smith offered the following explanation. Quote, at this conference or council, all who have held keys of dispensations will render a report of their stewardship. Adam will do likewise, and then he will surrender to Christ all authority. Then Adam will be confirmed in his calling as the prince over his posterity. Okay, so I guess that's something that's going to happen. He's going to be confirmed in his calling as the prince of his posterity, and will be officially installed and crowned eternally in his presiding calling. So I guess we can expect to see that if it hasn't already happened, and I tend to think that it has not, but we're going to go into that in future in the next few videos. Um, I guess we can expect to see this happen. Uh, the confirmation of him as the prince over his posterity, and then see him officially installed and crowned eternally in this calling. So that will be a very special thing. Then Christ will be received as King of Kings and Lord of Lords, right? Because the earth is going to become his kingdom. We do not know how long a time this gathering will be in session. Okay, so it may not be just one day. It could last a few days, could last a few weeks, could be multiple sessions, and that's what Bruce R. McConkie suggests in Millennial Messiah, and we'll read that in the next few videos. Or how many sessions may be held at this Grand Council. It is sufficient to know that it is a gathering of the priesthood of God from the beginning of the earth down to the present, in which reports will be made, and all who have been given dispensations, and then in parentheses it says talents, so all who have been given dispensations / talents will declare their keys and ministry and make their report of their stewardship according to the parable. Oh, okay, so he's referring to the parable of the talents. Judgment will be rendered unto them for this is a gathering of the righteous, those who have held and who hold keys of authority in the kingdom of God upon this earth. This will precede the great day of destruction of the wicked, and will be the preparation for the millennial reign. This is exciting. This is very exciting. When the Lord Jesus returns in triumphant glory to initiate, quote, the end of the world or the destruction of the wicked, the first resurrection, which began with the resurrection of Christ, will resume. Here, again, Michael Adam will play a significant role. Quote, this is from D&C 29:26. Before the earth shall pass away, Michael, mine archangel, shall sound his trump, and then all the dead awake, for their graves shall be opened, and they shall come forth. So it seems that under Christ, Adam is essentially going to initiate the mass resurrection. Not that he has the power to do it, because we know that it's because of Christ that will be resurrected, but he's the one that's going to, under him, he's going to initiate that process. And we've gone across like a bunch of different scriptures that talk about this, about Michael blowing his horn, and then there being the resurrection. In discussing the nature of the keys restored to earth by various angels, Bruce R. McConkie noted that, quote, the holy priesthood will be used in eternity as well as in time. It is not only the power and authority to save men here and now, it is also the power by which the worlds were made, and by which all things are. It also could well be that Adam, who brought mortality and death into the world, was also permitted to restore the power that brings immortality and life to his descendants, or the resurrection. Christ, of course, is the ultimate in the ultimate sense, holds the keys of the resurrection and the raising and of raising souls and immortality. But as we also know, it is his practice to operate through his servants in righteous persons will in due course participate in calling their loved ones forth in the resurrection. So did you catch that right there? And righteous persons will in due course, after Michael, they will participate in calling their loved ones forth in the resurrection. Now, don't get too deep into that, you guys, in the comments, but I know that that's something that I've heard my whole life, and I have no reason to believe that it is not true. I think that it is, but do not go into detail, please, in the comments, please. At the end of the earth, meaning at the end of the millennium, the final great battle between good and evil, known as the Battle of the Great, according to D&C 88:114, the Battle of the Great God, or the Battle of Gog and Magog, which we know that there's like a Gog and Magog before the millennium, but I guess there's another one afterwards, will take place. And once again, the mighty Michael, the eternal captain of Jehovah's army, will come face to face with his foe, Satan. Quote, the devil and his armies shall be cast away into their own place, that they shall not have power over the saints any more at all. Yes, that will be awesome. For Michael shall fight their battles and shall overcome him who seeketh the throne of him who sitteth upon the throne, even the Lamb. This is the glory of God and the sanctified, and they shall not any more see death. Michael's final victory is in preparation for the celestialization of the earth. Okay, and that's the end of the article. So hopefully you learned something new, or maybe you were reminded of something that you forgot. Um, I was. This is incredible information. Again, you can find this in the February 1998 Liahona. I'll put the link in the description below. So if you want to read the entire thing, because there's probably even more really good stuff in here. But anyway, so I'll put that in the description. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it. Make sure to leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below, and also make sure to share this with anyone that would find this interesting, anyone that's interested in Adam-ondi-Ahman, and I'll talk to you guys later.